Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. Today's top free agents left is presented by Consuri. If there's guys out there that are looking to gain an extra few inches, guess what? We got the shoes for you. Check them out down in the comments and in the description of today's show. So I know NFL free agency, depending on which Raider fans you talk to, some people say it's been good. Some people say be patient. Some people not exactly happy with what McDaniels and Dave Ziegler are doing. But guess what? No matter what happens, smile on my face, and I'm really going to try to push forward with that narrative going forward. So what I figured I would try to do here is this. I'm going to give you the top names that I would love, that I know Raider Nation, that I know everybody watching our live show here on the Raiders Report would celebrate to if the Raiders did, in fact, bring these guys. So Ziegs, McDaniels, if you're watching, can we get at least one or two of these players here? Let's first go to the number one guy on my list. It's Drure Tranquill. I have been hoping for what seems like the entire time I have done this show for a sideline-to-sideline linebacker that can cover. Tranquill has been that guy where he finally had an opportunity last season for the Chargers, and he played very well. Yeah, people are going to look at the tackles. 146 tackles, no doubt it's impressive. 5 sacks. Also impressive. When he had opportunities to go after the quarterback last season, he made the most of them. 10 tackles for loss, also good. But my favorite thing about him is his coverage ability. For the Raiders to give Robert Spillane, who to me is like, I would hope, the third, fourth best linebacker on your team, 2 years, $9 million, I would offer him right now $6 million a year to make sure that you can get him on this roster. When you look at other deals like Kaiser White, Levanta David, hell, even Denzel Perriman's rumored to want somewhere around $6 million. The Raiders still have a need at linebacker, and Drure Tranquill is definitely a name that I would love to be able to get. Let's go to another name here. It's a bigger name. It's Bobby Wagner. Wagner, from reports, doesn't sound like he's that interested in joining the Raiders, and if I was Wagner, personally, I would look to, probably go to a team that, let's just be real, gives you the best chance to win. I'm still up in the air on whether or not the Raiders are in win-now mode or if they're trying to look forward and rebuild for the future. But Wagner would be a good Denzel Perriman replacement. Wagner has never had under 104 tackles in an entire season and would be the number one linebacker on this team and the number one linebacker on most teams. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Huge shout-out to already the 135,000 people that took that second, that hit the sub button, that turned on those notifications. I want y'all to join the Raiders Report family. We always say, sub for a week. If you don't like the show after a week, unsubscribe. I just think that you're going to like what we have to offer here on the show. Let's go to another name here that I'm hoping that the Raiders could potentially at least bring in. It's Rock Ya-Sin. When free agency started, Rock was not that high on my list because he does have injury concerns. And he's had injury concerns this entire year. He is a bulldog type of player. He is a hard-nosed dude. He's not afraid to tackle. And if I can get 17 games out of Rock, loving it. I just don't know how likely that is. To me, this Raiders team still needs a corner. Brandon Faison, you're hoping it's just a depth piece, third, fourth corner on the list. Yes, there are a lot of very talented options in the draft, and I know the Raiders are going to take a starting cornerback in the draft. But Rock Ya-Sin is definitely a name to at least keep in mind. You want to spend big? You want to go out for somebody who's going to cost a little bit more money but would be a great versatile player in any defense he touches. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. And this morning, he actually tweeted out, the disrespect is real. I do think that Gardner-Johnson wants a little bit more money than maybe what he's being offered. He's a good corner, coming off a really good run with the Philadelphia Eagles, but he can also play safety. So to me, I know Patrick Graham wants versatility. I know that Ziegler and McDaniels want versatility. You want to spend some money, you will have to spend some money to get him, but he would be a really good fit here in this defense. If all of y'all are looking for a brand new fit, get those outfits going. I got a brand new sponsor here on the show, and a huge shout out to Consuri. And if anybody out there is like, hey man, and I'm going to be real with you, I'm 5'10". Does anybody who's 5'10" or under 6 foot want to be 6 foot? What if you were 6'3"? Do you want to be 6'5"? These shoes are going to help you do that. So if you go to Consuri.com/chat, we got height boosting shoes, 15% off, promo code chat, but it gets even better than that. The Raiders Report is presented by Consuri. Fellas, are you tired of feeling insecure about your height? Consuri makes shoes that can add up to 2.8 inches to your height discreetly. Women, they get heels. I see Alex put makeup on. I love when Alex puts up push-up bras, but hey, why can't men get a confidence boost too? We're all the same height laying down anyway. You know what I'm talking about. Consuri shoes are not only height boosting, but they're also stylish and comfortable. They're not Grandpa's Velcro shoes, though. I miss watching Grandpa walk around in them. But fashionable shoes that can receive compliments even without the height increase. The height insoles are integrated into the shoes, making it the ultimate height hack. For a limited time, and this is where I need you guys to listen the heck up, Consuri is offering our viewers an exclusive discount of 15% on top of up to their 30% site-wide discount. Use code chat at consuri.com/chat to get, if you're doing the math with me, 45% off. Yeah, I didn't stutter. 45% off. Don't wait any longer. Upgrade your shoe game and confidence now at conzuri.com/chat. When I get high, you know what I'm talking about. I put on a pair of Consuris. The link's going to be in the comments and in the description of today's show. Let's keep on rolling here with Shaq Griffin. Shaq Griffin was released this offseason, and another cornerback where 2 years ago, he was one of the top cornerbacks on the market. And maybe it was just weird fitting. We have seen from a Raiders team, when you mix and match head coaches, when you mix and match defensive coordinators, sometimes it can be hard to learn a new system. That's what I'm going to put the blame here for. Because when Griffin was with Seattle and they had some regularity in the defensive structure, regularity in the head coach, he was really good. Jacksonville's had some up and downs. Urban Meyer, I mean, that's the thing I can say. Urban Meyer, last season he did struggle as well, but Doug Peterson brought in his guys. And a lot of times when you bring in your guys, unfortunately, that means you're the odd man out. He would be a legit cornerback here for this Raiders team. Let's not go to the defensive tackle room. I'm looking at Andrew Billings. Andrew Billings is coming off a career year. Andrew Billings, if I was Billings and I was his agent, I would do everything in my power to get this man to get not only go back to the Raiders, but if I'm the Raiders and I'm trying to stay a little bit cheap and I think I can get this guy back, the defensive tackle market's been wonky. Like for Sheldon Rankins, to get $10.5 million. Maybe it's just not a good year to sign DTs, right? For Dalvin Tomlinson to get as much as he did. If Billings is anything over $7 million, I'm going to pass on him. But we know that defensive tackle is a huge team need. You need to add somebody. You can't rely on just the guys that you have. Billings, I hope that the Raiders do end up bringing him back. Let's go to another defensive tackle here. It's Matthew Ioannidis. And this has always been a name that the Raiders have shown interest in. Yes, he's getting up there in age a little bit, but I know for a fact that he would buy into this system. This is going to be a player that he has bounced around the NFL. He gives us 110%. The thing that a lot of people love about Crosby, and don't get me wrong, Crosby is an amazing defensive tackle. But the reason why Raider Nation loves Crosby is he's unbelievably gifted athlete, but it's his effort. Crosby is great because of that effort, and he is willing to go above and beyond. That's what he's willing to do as well. So he's not an elite player, but he's going to give you elite effort. And that sounds like what this team is trying to do. Let's go to a defensive end / outside linebacker. Kyle Van Noy is probably one of the more versatile players in the NFL. And we got to be able to face the facts. If at one point you were a New England Patriot, chances are this team is going to show a little bit of interest in you. Van Noy is an edge rusher who can get after the quarterback. 5 sacks last season. He's also good enough of a linebacker that can drop back into coverage. He's also not afraid to be able to wrap up somebody in terms of bringing down a running back, bringing down a tight end. Kyle Van Noy, his best years are well behind him. He's still, though, if you were to bring him in right now, I would have more confidence in Kyle Van Noy than somebody like Divine Diablo. So hopefully that tells you what I think about him. All right, we got more players to be able to get into here. However, here's some of the other moves that the Raiders have already made in free agency. So if you're looking for a Raiders free agency tracker, I got you covered. They franchise tag Josh Jacobs. You re-signed Amir Abdullah. You signed Jimmy Garoppolo. The way his deal is structured, though, it's at 16.3 in year one, $28 million the final 2 years. But when you really look at the way that the contract is structured, the Raiders can get out of that final year of the deal. So the way that I would think of it is Garoppolo is going to be on your team. 16.3 this year, $28 million next season. Marcus Epps, 2-year, $12 million. This might be my favorite deal that the Raiders have done thus far. Brandon Faison, the old Raider back in 2021 with the Gus Bradley defense. He's back. He's probably going to be your third, fourth cornerback on this roster. Jacoby Myers. It's a weird fit because a lot of people didn't think that we needed extra offensive help. But Myers at 3 years, $33 million for the player that he is, that's a really good deal. Special teams player on top of that. You re-sign Brandon Parker. You're bringing in Phillip Dorsett, who's got legit speed to be able to take off the top of the defense. The move that I might dislike the most, Robert Spillane. This one's hard to wrap my mind around. When you look at some of the other linebacker contracts that have gone down, 2 years, $9 million. Maybe he turns out to be a deal that was surprising in the end. We'll see. Jacob Johnson, they brought him back. And then yesterday, they also brought back Jerry Tillery to 2 years, $7 million. This is an overpay for Jerry Tillery. I'm telling you that right now. He was good in the beginning of the year, started to fall off at the end. So I know this Raiders team is trying to play it cheap. But for Tillery there, that's a little bit more than what I would have given him. But how about this? Before I show you my final names here on some free agents that I still want the Raiders to be able to go out and get. What's your grade so far? What do you grade in McDaniels? What do you grade in Ziegler? I want you to give it an A, B, C, D, or F. Considering the fact that the Raiders entering free agency had $43.7 million. They had some of the most money. I, right now, at free agency, am probably going to give this team a D. I haven't loved a lot of the moves that they've made. I think that they have taken steps back on offense, and they have gotten worse defensively. But my job here this week, I'm going to try to stay positive. I'm going to hope that they're cooking up something in the background. They're trying to move money around, and at the end of the day, if they can give us a competing team, that's all we can hope for. But I am not very sold on some of the moves that this team has done thus far. Let's keep it rolling here for some free agent targets. Isaac Seumalo. He's the top offensive guard, and he's been the top offensive lineman. Dave Ziegler said that he's going to build this team from the inside out before free agency started. I haven't seen that. In fact, I'd make the argument they've done the complete opposite of what they have said. If you get him, though, that really bolsters your offensive line. Isaiah Wynn, former Patriot. You could probably kick him over to right tackle. Was not very good last season. That doesn't mean anything. If you've been on the Patriots, that means more than likely this organization is going to show some sort of interest in you. And then the final name on here is going to be Jermaine Eluemunor. I would love for the Raiders to figure out a way to bring back Eluemunor. He was a lot better than what people gave him credit for, especially considering the fact of how inconsistent the right guard spot is. When you're an offensive lineman, you want continuity. You want to know that that guy that's lining up next to you is somebody that you can rely on. Eluemunor never had that last season. He's been really good with Carmen Bracillo, and I hope that they find a way to bring him back. But I also will not, I can't blame the guy for coming off a career year for going out and getting his bag. If he goes out and gets his bag, congratulations to you, good sir. Now, what I want to know down in the comments is I want you to name a player that you're still hoping that the Raiders sign a free agency. If you made it this far in the video and you're not watching us live, Chugs and I are going to be live essentially all day today. We're going to be talking about NFL news, Raiders free agency moves, if they happen, and then also the March Madness. And if you haven't already, I put out a tweet. I'm trying to get Marcus Epps on the Raiders report. I've been telling Raider Nation, go tweet at Marcus. Try to get him on today's show. That's another goal that I have today. So if you haven't, I tweeted at him. Hit me up on Twitter, at Mitchell Renz 365, and get Marcus Epps on the show. Can we make that happen? I want to show some of these players how Raider Nation gets down, and I'll tell you this, if it goes down, today's show is going to be a legendary shit show here on the Raiders Report.